it's not a problem that's going away, it's a problem that's gonna get worse instead of better. So the only other option we have, not the only other main option we have is groundwater. The problem here in the valley is you don't have any, or not much. There's a few pockets, I think, but it's not something you can use as a replacement resource for the surface water. So you're pretty much stuck with whatever comes down the Rio Grande. We had some bad news yesterday. We had a lawsuit with the state of New Mexico because they're not releasing water that they're supposed to. We have actually an agreement with them. And the Supreme Court ruled yesterday, 5-4, that we can't do that. They took away our state's rights, that we can't sue the state of New Mexico. And the reason is we own the water in the rivers, but the federal government said they own the water in the lakes. They're managed by the Corps of Engineers, the United States Corps of Engineers. So that was a pretty big blow to us. So not only can we not get our agreement fulfilled with Mexico, we can't get our agreement fulfilled with New Mexico. So we're fighting amongst ourselves too. So we're gonna have to deal with that. Another problem that we have here in the valley is infrastructure, our irrigation canals, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been told this, I haven't researched it, but we lose about 40% of our water just through the infrastructure. Is that right? Anybody disagree with that? And we're not eligible for any grants or loans to get that fixed. There is a program through the USDA that farmers are eligible for. It's called the EQIP program. It's an Environmental Quality Improvement Program. It's for conservation, water conservation mainly. So I intend to work with the USDA to make eligible for the irrigation districts, the water districts, to be eligible for those water project improvements. So, I mean, that's exactly what that money is designated for. So we can come in and reline some of these canals, redredge them, whatever we need, wherever that 40% is going at. I guess some of it, I don't know how much of it is probably evaporation, but the leaking we can stop. I don't know what we do about the evaporation. We might be able to put dye in it or cover over it or something like that. So that's one thing that we're going to work on. I have sent a letter to Anthony Blinken, making the Biden administration aware of it. No response, not surprised. I think it's well known that the Biden administration wants to reduce the amount of food that we produce. They want to be dependent on a foreign nation for our food products. The first week in office, Biden, by an executive order, implemented the 30 by 30 plan. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, but what that means is he wants to reduce, wants to take 30% of our productive land out of production by the year 2030. That's phase one. Phase two is the 50-50 plan. He wants 50% of our land out of production by the year 2050. This is actually a global plan to reduce global food and global population so they can, the government can control everything. Europe is doing this. They're way ahead of us. You might have saw in the news in the last couple of months where the farmers over there are revolting. They're having the tractor cage, they're dumping manure on the politicians' lawns and things like that. It's very serious up there. First thing they want you to do is get rid of 50% of your livestock. Stop using nitrogen fertilizer. They want to nationalize half the land. They did that in Sri Lanka, and they revolted and overthrew the government. They told the farmers in the Netherlands, which is the largest agriculture exporting country there, to get rid of half the livestock and stop using nitrogen fertilizer. They revolted and overthrew their leadership. So, kind of watch that. This is real. I'm not making this up. Yeah. And it's a one world government. It's kind of remember the old Agenda 21? It's kind of that revamped and renamed. And by the way, the Biden administration, sometimes they do some pretty smart stuff. They don't call it the 30 by 30 plan anymore. They call it America the Beautiful plan. you know, it's just a lie like everything else that they put out there. So, I say all that, I want you to be aware of that. We've got to deal with that. But to make a point that I don't think we're going to get much help from the Biden administration for our water crisis here in the valley. Like I said, I have not heard back from them. So, the best thing we can do is to change the leadership up there and re-elect Donald Trump as our president. I think we can get that. And not only will that get us on our way to getting our water crisis fixed here, but it'll also close the border. Now, Donald Trump do you want a good border plan? You want to fix the border? Just re-elect Donald Trump. He had it down to the trickle, the lowest it's been in 30 years. He knows how to do it. It's all there. He doesn't even have to research it and figure it out. All he has to do is just re-implement his executive orders. So I'm working real hard to get that man re-elected too. I've got a bus tour. We're going to all the swing states. It's called the Gas and Groceries Tour. And that's the basic message, right? Gas, groceries, rent, utilities. I mean, that's what matters to everybody. And they're all up. And we're going to remind everybody that. If I'm successful and we move 1% of the vote in each one of those swing states, he wins every swing state. They're that close. So look for that, the Gas and Groceries Tour. But we're here to talk about water. So I've been talking with Senator Cruz in Cornyn's office. They're drafting a bill to put some monetary pressure on Mexico to release the water. The problem is, I don't know that they have the water to release it. They're in a real drought too. And apparently we did this treaty in 1944, and it worked great. There's 7 watersheds that flow out of Mexico into the Rio Grande. But in the 90s, late 80s and early 90s, they dammed those up. And that's when our problems started. And we have them pay to do that. We gave them money to build the dams. And here's some of this stuff just defies cowboy logic. Okay, so we're going to help our neighbors build the dams. We got this treaty. They're going to release the water. We didn't make them put any gates in the dams. There's no way to release the water. The only way you can release it is around the spillway. So how do they pay their water bill if they can't open the gates and let the water go? So that's a huge problem. So there was no farming, no population around these areas. When they dammed it up, now they're farming all of that land. There's people everywhere using the water. So it's a really complicated problem. The only way that we can get immediate relief is go in there and put some pumps and pump it over the dam and let it go, which is expensive, but it could be done. So we're looking at that. Other than that, that's kind of the lay of the land. Some people want to put close the border, and put pressure on Mexico. I don't think that's a good idea. Governor Abbott did that. I was fearlessly against that and attacked him in the press real hard for closing the border. There was somewhere between $3 and $4 billion worth of product spoiled and went bad, and it affected not only the Mexican side, but it affected our Texas growers. We've got growers that farm on both sides of the river. We've got people like HEB that in the off season they depend on that product coming out of there to stock their stores. I told the governor, I said, those shelves are going to go bare just like they did during COVID, and sure enough, that's what happened. So we don't need to do that. Mexico is either our 1, 2, or 3 best trading partner, and we don't need to be trading our neighbors and our best customers, like that, in my opinion. You can disagree with me if you want, but I think diplomacy works a lot better than strong-arming your friends and your neighbors and your best customers. They resent that. Matter of fact, when Abbott did that, we got a plan, it's in place, it's happening, and it's a transcontinental railroad to bring product out of Mexico and us to ship product into Mexico, and Canada's part of it too. Starts at Mazatlan, comes to Laredo, goes to San Antonio, Dallas, Chicago, and up to Winnipeg. Great. It's going to be a great railroad line. Well, when Abbott closed the border with his truck inspection program, by the way, they didn't find any illegal contraband or illegals in those trucks. We already checked them. They'd already been checked before. They always check them. So Mexico retaliated, and they're moving their line from Laredo to New Mexico, and they're bypassing Texas. That's going to kill us. We can't allow that to happen. So I've been working diligently. I serve on the Tri-National Agriculture Corps. That's Canada, United States, and Mexico. We're the ones that help negotiate the new USMC and replace the NAFTA agreement. So just about got Mexico, especially with the new leadership there now, convinced, and got them on the line that we're getting real close to bring that railroad line back through Laredo, San Antonio, Dallas, and then on to Chicago. So if we strong arm them again, we'll definitely lose that rail line. And I don't think it's worth giving that up. So that's pretty much where we are on it. That's what I know about it. I didn't come here all doom and gloom. I've got some good news. We do a lot of things at the Department of Agriculture, and most of them you don't know about. One of them you may not know about, your citrus farmers know about it, is we do border protection, but not like you first think about. What we do is when trucks come into Texas, we pull them over and we go through them to inspect them for invasive plants, disease, anything that could harm our agriculture industry. We're I guess you call bio inspectors. We're not looking for illegal aliens or contraband. However, we find some of that too. But we've never been able, fully funded or fully staffed, and I've always had trouble getting the legislature to do that. We could set up like a 72-hour station maybe every 6 or 8 weeks, on I-10 or 20 or something, coming in or coming out of the valley here. And the trucking companies, they know when we're there. They just wait until we shut down, and then they go ahead. We were successful this time in getting that program expanded a lot. I'm putting in 60 new inspectors, and we only had like 12. So we're going to be able to expand that program and be better to protect, especially the valley, from citrus canker, citrus greening. We've got a little bit of it here, but not like Florida, and we don't want to let it get away from us. But we also look for fruit flies, lethal palm disease. There's a whole list of stuff long list, and we got that up and running. We're not 100%, but we're probably 70% there, and we have found a lot of stuff, and so that's the good news, is that the valley's going to have a lot better protection for your agriculture industry in the years ahead. I tell you what, let's a lot of other stuff. This is not my usual speech. This is a one-topic speech. We're here to talk about water and the situation here in the Rio Grande Valley. So I'm going to open it up. If you have questions or comments or ideas that would help me help you, I'm here to listen. So yes.